Jazzcast Pros.
Have you ever experienced moments in your lives when you responded to something that was happening right now, but your reactions felt older than what was happening in the moment? It could have been a tone, a look, feeling of rejection, or maybe even a disagreement. And then suddenly, you no longer felt like the powerful, accomplished woman that you have become. Well, we are the little girl who felt unseen. We are those little girls who felt unheard. And we are those little girls that felt unprotected. And so today, that's why we're talking about the ghost in the nursery. And that term describes how unprocessed childhood experiences quietly show up in our adult lives. Hey there, my graceful grinders and totally uniquers. This is your executive coach, Dr. Pamela Brown-Grinion, President and Chief Etiquette Officer of the Totally Unique Institute of Excellence and Totally Unique Educational Consultants, LLC. Well, we are here for another exciting episode of the Grace and Grind podcast. And today we are going to be talking about the ghost in the nursery. These ghosts are not here to haunt us, okay? But they will revisit us if we don't learn to heal them. Today, we gently turn on the light in the nursery. So today, what are we talking about, Dr. Pam? We are talking about, I got my notes right here so I can see. Guys, these notes are so small. When I printed them, I did not print them in a large enough font. So you see me going like this. Just because, Layla, I'm going to put you out. Okay? She do this every time. Every time we get on live, she has something to say. All right, so we're talking about the ghost in the nursery. Okay, the ghost in the nursery. Now, ghost in the nursery is a trauma-informed concept, and it was created by a psychoanalyst named Selma Freyberg. You guys probably don't want to know that, don't need to know that, but it's important to know that, okay? Because again, when I'm teaching, it's foundational. This is not just Pam just making up stuff. No, this is for real stuff, okay? Now, it describes the unresolved pain, memories, sounds, and patterns from your childhood that shows up in your adult life. It can show up in your parenting, your caregiving, your relationships, your emotional reactions, and in the workplace. It's the invisible emotion that echoes from your past that affects how you love, how you respond, how you protect, and how you connect with other people. These ghosts aren't literal, okay? So it's not like, ooh, boogeyman, I got a ghost, and when you're afraid as a kid. It's not that type of ghost, okay? These are internal ghosts in your nursery, and they are unhealed experiences that influence today's behavior, even when you want to do things differently. But the ghosts are so big internally that it hinders you from doing what it is that you know you want to do and should do. Okay? So the ghost in your childhood is where your pain resides that you never addressed. Okay? And continues to replay itself through your adult self. So again, we are talking about that little girl, little boy on the inside, all right? But I'm giving you the correct terminology for it. It is called ghost in your nursery. So I want you to think about, we all have them. What were the ghosts in your nursery? Now understand that your ghosts can be people, places, or things, experiences, things, right? Your ghosts are just memories attached to those experiences. Unresolved, unhealed, never attended to. And so you grow up with these internal wounds that we call ghosts in the nursery. Why is it called ghost in the nursery? Because it's a play on words because you were younger. So nursery. Okay. Hey, Libs. I love it, love it, love it. The ghost in the nursery. And also, I have to teach this because this is a little bit deep and a little bit heavy, but it's good stuff. But I got to do this in 2 sessions. I wanted to do it right. And so I broke it down into 2 sessions. I wanted to be very detailed. Okay. And I wanted you to really walk away with an understanding of, to the smallest detail of what might be impacting you, how and why. Okay. Number 1, notice the emotional reactions that feel too big for the moment. What does that mean? You know how I've been talking to you about, is this situation small, medium, large, extra large, or supersized? You have to notice emotionally what is going on inside of me. Remember, the first step to self-awareness is that you have to identify what's happening in your body. What are the triggers that you're getting in your body that is telling you that this situation, this person, something is not right here because something is happening in my body. You don't make it happen. You're not in control of it. It just starts to happen. What I'm telling you to do is begin to pay attention to when you feel these things happening, right? And when your responses is stronger than the situation, that means if you take a small situation and you ride into a supersized situation, that should be telling you that something is not right in that moment. Okay? Something is not right in that moment. If your emotions become so big and it's really a small, you heard the terminology, turning a molehill into a mountain. Okay, this is turning your emotional molehills into mountains. When you are doing that and you can't regulate on the level where you should be regulating based on what the emotional response should be, that's telling you that this situation is probably attached to a ghost in the nursery. So when this is happening, I want you to ask yourself, is this about now? Is this about something that's happening right now? Or is this something that I've never healed from? Like, you really have to go in and have these internal conversations with yourself. Is this about now? And I shared with you guys a situation that I had 40 years ago, but it just came back. It was just unlocked and released, right? And I had to ask myself this question: is this now? Or is this something that I haven't healed from? Well, this is something that I couldn't heal from because I wasn't totally aware of it happening, right? So communicate. You got to go inward. You got to ask yourself these questions, right? Why am I saying right so much today? I'm going to work on that because I teach my students to not have filler words, and my, Toastmasters needs to kick in right about now. Okay, here we go. These emotional spikes often point directly to the ghost. Now remember, the ghosts are unhealed experiences, past pain and trauma that you haven't healed from. And when you have these heightened levels of emotions, it's pointing to internally that there's a ghost in the nursery and it's alive and well. Okay? It's alive and well. Now, how does the ghost show up? When your reaction is far stronger than the situation calls for, when something makes you shut down, panic, lash out, or withdraw. Now, you guys remember, I say this every day about me. When I go into my spider hole, these are my emotions. I shut down. I experience panic. I may lash out because I'm trying to protect me, right? Or I may withdraw, or all of the above. I might tick all of those boxes. Why? Because I did not identify that they were ghosts in my nursery. It wasn't adult Pam that was experiencing this traumatic experience. It was little Pam that was trying to speak to big Pam to say, hey, knock, knock, knock. I got something going on in here. Okay, I've got something going on in here. So you have to listen to when that little girl and that unhealed little boy is talking to you. You have to pay attention because they're telling you that at that moment, when you're feeling that heightened sensation, that trigger, when you're feeling that, they're knocking internally and they're telling you, I need you to listen to me because right now, this is a teachable moment. This is an opportunity where you can gain some more clarity, some healing. And I'm telling you that in this moment, I need something that I didn't get as a little girl or as a little boy. And so I'm showing up now in your adulthood to bring awareness to you that there's something that I did not get that I need you to provide for me right now so that you can be free from this. Ghost in the nursery. But if you don't pay attention and if you don't take that first step of self-awareness, you can't shift your mindset without self-awareness. Self-awareness, mindset shift, critical if you're going to start changing your behavioral responses to your traumatic experiences, right? I have to tell you again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a social worker. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not any of those things. But I am the best coach that you will run across that's going to teach you practical strategies. I'm going to give you practical strategies on how do you identify these things within you, and then how do you shift them? How do you reframe your thinking about them so that you can have change, so that you can change your behavioral responses, so that you can disrupt that negative emotional loop. Yes, June, it's the baby in you. It's the little girl in you that's knocking and asking you, help me right now. In this moment, I need you to help me right now. I need you to help me right now. I'm giving you these strategies because I know that if people knew how to get unstuck, they would. How do I know that? Because when I was stuck, I didn't know how to get unstuck. But did I want to be unstuck? Absolutely. I didn't know how. Nobody told me how. So I'm telling you these things that I had to find out the hard way. And so I am sharing with you what I had to learn and do. I'm taking off years of your traumatic journey, years if you apply what I'm telling you. Again, I can give you the information every morning at 8:00, but if you don't apply the implementation, you may as well not show up. I'm so serious. Okay. If you are just coming on here just to see what's going on and just to hear, wrong place. This is not your room. This is not your space. This is not your community. But if you are here and you're saying that I'm ready to open up the closets in my life and I'm ready to address the skeletons and pull her or him out by the ankles and look her eyeball or him eyeball to eyeball, this is your community. This is your space. This is where you need to be. Okay. So notice the emotional reactions that feel too big in the moment. That's your number one. Okay. How do they show up? When your reaction is far stronger than the situation calls for. You're supersizing everything. You're turning everything from a molehill into a mountain. Why? Because you don't have emotional regulation. Why? Because your traumatic experiences are bigger than you are able to handle. Why? Because you don't know how. Why? Because you don't have the emotional capacity to. Why? Because nobody told you that you have the power to control how these experiences show up in your life, how they impact you, how much power you give them, and how you respond to them. Nobody told you that. You saw people deal with traumatic experiences in a way that was unhealthy, and you mimicked them. You did the same thing they did. They walked around unhealed. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to walk around unhealed. They didn't address their traumatic experiences. I guess I'm not supposed to address mine. I'm telling you guys, I'm talking to me. Okay. I'm always my first client. I'm always my first student. I did that for 3 decades. 30 years. I did that. I lived in that space. So I'm telling you, when I tell you I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm talking about. When I tell you I know how to break free from this, I know how to help you break free from this. Now, again, I can help you. I help people change their behavioral responses. That's what a coach does, right? And I've combined executive coaching etiquette coaching and trauma informed coaching and combined it into my framework that I call emotional etiquette. So this is all falls under the emotional etiquette framework because we need to know how to deal with our emotions in a healthy way. Okay. We need to know how to do that. And is emotional intelligence tied in with that? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Okay. But you have to be able to pay attention and understand and sense. You have to sense, but you can't sense if you don't pay attention. Okay. So you gotta give your internal compass a wheel alignment. Okay. You gotta make sure that your internal compass is accurate. It's giving you real, honest, truthful information, not lies from your emotional past. Not that. We're talking about in the now, in the now, in the now, what's going on. Okay. And remember, I'm teaching you how to shift your behavior. I can't help you with deliverance, two different things. Inner healing and deliverance, not the same thing. Okay. I can do my part in this, but I already told you what you got to do for the other part. Okay. They're both critical. Both critical. Inner healing and deliverance. When I tell you that is show enough freedom, it's show enough freedom. Okay. And that's what you want. That is what you want to experience. And then you can walk through life and you can feel like your authentic, totally unique self, not a person that is wearing a facade or a mask like I did for so many years because I thought people could see. I'm telling you what I know. Okay. This is not something that I'm not mimicking what somebody else says. Now, did I develop Ghost in the Nursery? No, I can't take credit for that. Okay. Because I'm not a psychoanalyst. That's Selma's work. Dr. Pam's work is emotional etiquette. Okay. That's my work. Right. So I'm telling you what I know. And I know if you're on here and you've been coming on here every day, something is resonating with you. The little girl and the little boy in you, something is resonating with you and knocking internally and telling you that I need more of this. And that's why you're showing up every single morning, because the little girl and the little boy is telling you, this is what I've been needing all of my life. Don't you dare tap out on yourself. If I show up here every morning, I'm expecting you to show up here with me every morning. I've already done this work, but am I still fine tuning my compass? Absolutely. Am I healed from everything in my life? Absolutely not. And so while I'm not having to do that deep dive for the little girl, because I've done that, there are still traumatic experiences that I've had as an adult that needs attending to. Okay. And I'm on that journey. You guys aren't on this journey alone. I'm not just here just to talk to you. I'm walking my walk too. Okay. Okay. So how does it show up? When your reaction is far stronger than the situation calls for. When I say you have to assess small, medium, large, extra large, supersize emotionally, you really have to go inwardly and ask yourself, is this situation small, medium, or large? Okay. Because you may feel yourself supersized and you don't even realize it. You've gone from 0 to 10 in 2.5 seconds and it didn't call for that. Why? Because you're experiencing emotional dysregulation, because the little girl or the little boy is giving you that internal knock, that internal nudge saying, I'm being triggered by something. I'm being triggered by someone. Something is not right in this moment. And I need you to pay attention. I know I'm harping on this, but we're on step 1 for a reason, because this is where your real self-awareness and internal identification kicks in. But I need you guys to start being intentional and stop letting these things pile up. Like, deal with it in the moment. If it's a small, let it stay a small. Don't make it something bigger than what it is. I might be making an assumption that you're here because you don't know how and you're learning how, and that's why you're showing up every day. You can tell me in the chat if you already know all this stuff and you're just showing up because You just like listening to my beautiful voice. Either way, I'll take it, okay? I'll take it. I hope it's because you're learning things that are making you better, are helping you to be better. You're employing the things that I'm teaching. Now, I want to ask you some reflective questions. Now, I've told you when you come, bring your journal and your pen. Bring something. Take a note in your phone or whatever. I don't care. Because here comes your journal questions, okay? Number 1, what emotion am I feeling right now? And when do I remember feeling this emotion first as a child? When you're feeling that heightened thing that happens, that warning that you get that tells you that something is not right in this moment, I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to sit at night, just journal these questions. What emotion am I feeling right now in that moment? I want you to just pay attention when you're in that moment. What emotion am I feeling? And when do I remember first feeling this feeling as a child? Because that will identify the ghost in the nursery, the people, the place, the thing, whatever, the experience, whatever. It will help you to identify. Donique says, I'm listening to learn. I'm listening to open up to new ways of healing. Thank you, Donique. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your courage. And thank you for your honesty. Thank you for trusting me with your trauma. I don't take that lightly at all. You guys show up. I don't take that lightly. I know that this is my God work. I know that it is. I do this better than I do anything else in my life. I do. And I know I do a lot of stuff. Okay. Y'all know I do. But I do this better than anything in my life. This is the God-given gift that he gave me. This is my calling. And I know it. And I'm saying, yes, I'm walking in it. Okay. Question number 2. Is this reaction that I'm feeling, is it about today? Or is this an old wound being touched? Self-awareness is critical if you are going to change your behavioral responses to any traumatic experience. All right. 3rd question. What does my younger self fear and need in this moment? Because there is something that is triggering the emotions. There is something that's causing the emotions to be so heightened that you're out of control. You're dysregulated. What is it? But if you haven't gone inward to be introspective and reflective, and you don't take those moments to be still, you can't figure it out. If you can't silence yourself in the moment when you're feeling up here, like I can get really agitated right now. I had some agitation yesterday. I had to hold my tongue. But I know how to go inward like that and shift it because I've been doing this a long time. But in that moment, did I want to say some words? Oh, yeah, they called me at the right time where I wanted to say something wrong. Oh, yes. I mean, aggravated and irritated. But I did not. I used emotional regulation because I'm emotionally mature. And I used emotional etiquette. I practice what I preach, what I teach. All right. So those are your 3 reflective questions. I hope you wrote them down. Do I need to repeat them? What emotion am I feeling right now? And when do I remember first feeling this emotion as a child? Number 2, is this reaction about today? Or is this an old wound being touched? Number 3, what does my younger self fear in this moment? How do you know when it shows up? If your reactions are too big, when something small makes you shut down, panic, lash out, withdraw, whatever it makes you do, that is not healthy. It's not a healthy emotion. Okay. When you feel like you're reliving an old emotional experience, did I just tell you guys about my experience from 40 years ago and that pickup truck with the drill sergeant that I did not remember until about 2 months ago, and it just came from nowhere? And I relived that old emotional experience. I didn't even know fully what I didn't even know. And everything about the memory, everything. I heard it. I smelt it. I saw it. I felt it. I tasted it. Okay. I relived that emotional experience like it was happening in the moment. So yes, it showed up and I had to address it in the moment. Like I had to address it. It took me 2 weeks to get back right? Because I had to give it space. I couldn't say, oh, that happened, but that didn't happen. No, it happened and I needed to process it. You can't process it if you tuck it away again. I didn't want it tucked away again. I wanted it out. Okay. I had to do my internal work. I had inner healing. I know how to take myself through that journey, but I needed deliverance. And I was on the altar for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I took my coat off. I went to the altar. They picked me up from the altar 3 weeks in a row. You can go back and watch the videos. They picked me up. Libby, my brain protected me, and I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that God waited until I was emotionally mature enough to handle that, because that probably would have taken me somewhere that it would have been really difficult to come back from. I'm so glad that I was emotionally sound. But in that moment when I was reliving it, I understood exactly what I needed to do. I needed inner healing, but I also needed to be delivered from the spirits that were attached to what happened to me. Self-discipline is crucial. And honey, let me tell you something. I needed to seek God because I did the work that I could do, but I couldn't do that soul, that stuff that remove it, like remove it. I don't want to be haunted by this. I'm not doing that anymore. So there's a part that you have to do. And then and I'm not telling anybody how to believe. I always say to you guys, I'm a goddaughter. And because I'm my first client, I'm my first student, I'm telling you what I did. This is my lived experience on paper. Okay. My lived experience on paper. And everybody that I'm seeing on my Facebook thread, I know are believers. Now on my TikTok thread, mine is 40 years ago. Apparently cleaning my daughter's room triggers me. I need to regulate. Oh my God. Renee, let me tell you something, sister. You have the power to control. And I hope you was here yesterday because I talked about going down those streets and in those rooms that are uncomfortable for you because it's attached to a traumatic experience. But you can't get over it if you don't face it. You can't get over it. And I understand when you have those 40-year-old things that come back to haunt you. I understand that. But when I say to you, I really need you to make this declaration to yourself, and I need you to embrace it. And I want you to repeat after me. When I say it, I want you to say it. I have the power to control how my traumatic experience shows up in my life, how I respond to it, how much power I give it, and how it impacts me. And you do. I don't care what it is. You get to choose. You get to choose how it shows up, how much power, how it impacts. You get to choose that. But we gotta interrupt some things. Okay. We gotta interrupt some things. So I relived that for 2 weeks, shut it down, gave it space, acknowledged it, did all the things, reframed, did all the things, talked about the emotions I was feeling, all the things. And then I said, okay, I've done my part. I had to go see Dr. Jesus for the rest. And I'm good. Like, don't I look good? Like, I don't look heavy in the face. Like, oh, Pam. No, I'm good. When I tell you I'm good, I'm good. And Renee, you're going to be good too. Okay? You're going to be good too. I promise you, you're going to be good. If you do the internal work, you will be good. But you can't be afraid to do the work. You can't be better. You can't be better with fear. You have to do the work. You have to do the work. And I'm giving you the strategies on how to do the work. I'm not just telling you when these ghosts are, no, it's this ain't that. This ain't that. This is how do I get free? And I put what I had to do on paper And now I'm coaching it free. Right? Where they do that? My coaching sessions to work with me is $25,000 a year for group coaching. Not one-on-one. For group coaching is $25K a year. I'm on here every morning free. This is my assignment. Free. Right? Free. Come on now. When I tell you, you better show up for you, I'm showing up for you. All right, my graceful grinders and totally uniquers, that is all we have time for today. But I want you to come back for the next episode of the Grace and Grind podcast, because we're going to be talking about part 2 of the Ghost in the Nursery. And we're actually going to be diving more into moving from awareness and into alignment. So now that we can identify the ghost, and we'll talk about how to quiet it and how to not silence your voice or allow it to silence you, but how you can actually strengthen your emotional authority so that you can explore how to respond instead of react. That's what we're going to be talking about in the next episode. So make sure you tune in, and you already know what I'm going to say. I love you, love you, love you with my whole heart. And with that being said, I want you to go out and create your totally unique day on purpose. But first, always remember that you have the power to control how your trauma shows up in your life, how you respond to it, how much power you give it, and how you allow it to impact you. All right, until next time, ta-ta for now.